strength and beauty of God. Every beloved is called to step up in strength, a strength that has been discovered during the spiritual journey. The strength that you may have considered within the world as a body strength is not the strength that God calls to you to bring. The strength is a strength that comes through trusting and through devotion. It's a quiet strength that keeps the attention focused in peace and love. Imagine that you are a sentry guarding the door of love, and that whatever you open the door to is what your visitor is there to visit with you. In that awareness, then it becomes something that you pay attention to, that you're not going to open the door except for the aspects of love, peace and harmony, and that your strength, your firm strength says, I serve the divine. I serve the truth. And I bring all my attention and my dedication and devotion to the truth. And the Spirit of love will continue to direct me stronger and stronger as I affirm the truth of love. This is the strength that God calls every beloved to, because this strength that is within you, this devotion, this dedication to truth, is all that we focus our attention on until we don't have to focus our attention so fully, but it becomes more natural. The strength of love is a strength that has no earthly comparison. It is a deep loyalty to the truth that you're remembering. And it's a deep loyalty to the truth that this is all that you want, that this is your purpose, and that you're devoted to that purpose. This is the beauty and the strength that comes with that devotion. Others may not recognize the strength that you are developing and focused on, but you will recognize the strength. Steady on your feet is part of a teaching, but to affirm that you are steady on your feet is saying, I'm not budging, I'm not moving from my dedication, from my devotion to the truth. And you're saying that to yourself, because it's the opening of a deep devotion that is just beginning to be recognized and be embraced. To stand in the strength of love in that devotion is sometimes like standing in a hurricane, in the sense that there is a commotion that goes on outside, and sometimes a commotion that goes on inside. But the inside commotion is going to come and become the quiet stillness of peace. And in that quiet stillness of peace, it will seem as if you are in the center of a hurricane, but in the stillness. And the outside may be moving around you, and there may be disturbance around, but you're in that devotion and in that strength are in the quiet, steady love that your devotion is to. This becomes a practice that is perfectly suited to your calling. It's a necessary element of strength that won't budge. It isn't about being right. It isn't to prove being right, and it isn't to prove anything. It's because that strength is your truth, and you stand in devotion with that truth. There's no proselytizing, no trying to convince anyone, but standing in the strength of love and not allowing any disturbance from the outside or the inside to have its way, but to affirm through prayer, through love, you are the strength of God. You are the light of God, beauty of God. And therein, within your heart, within your being, is the strength of truth. So as we accept the embracing of that new strength, it affirms God's constant presence, constant care, constant teaching, always. So in this moment, affirming in the firmness of strength, of love, that there is only one presence here. It is the life force of God. And within this life force is all wisdom, all truth, all reality. And that wisdom, that reality is within each beloved in the union of love. There is only one presence here. Always one presence. Love itself, peace and harmony, the life force of God. Each beloved. This universe is all love. And this sanctuary is filled with love because nothing else is invited. Nothing else is reality. Only love. So with that teaching comes all the help that is always available in all ways, through prayer, through hymns, through chants, through repeating the name of God, all day long. It all brings strength and truth with it. This hymn also speaks to that and the intention. Sister, brother, pay keen attention. Go very, very slowly to not mistake your path. Sister, brother, keep your feet on the ground. Be careful with your pride. Be careful with your vanity. Sister, brother, go very, very slowly. Be careful with the traps of life in your path. Sister, brother, journey with attention, sincerity in the heart, to walk well on this earth. Go very slowly. The intention of going very slowly is so that the mind cannot run ahead and make itself the leader of your direction that you're being called to walk, but that in the slowness, you can hear the voice of love direct much more clearly. In the slowness, you can hear and receive the directions of what is going to be most helpful for you. And it also allows the humility of love to be present, because there's something definitely connected with the fastness. The fastness says, I know. If you feel the energy of the fastness, it's, I'm in charge, I know. Leave me alone while I direct myself. And then Spirit of God says, come back, slow down. Slow down, listen. I'm walking with you. But if you're racing and thinking, you know, I can't hold that place with you. So walk slowly so that I can stay with you. And so that you can find the answers so much more easily, because you're moving slowly. To not mistake the way that is being shown to you. The dawn has arrived resplendently. The dawn has arrived of this new day. My Father is here. That is where he is, and my mother is here. On her altar, the dawn has arrived, illuminating resplendently the new day. My mother is here with open arms. With her roses of crystal purity, and the heart within that beautiful rose becomes resplendent and blooms with all love. Oh, my mother is here. Yes, she is. My Father is here in great jubilation, resplendently illuminating. It is dawn and the sun has risen. In the resplendence of the divine light, we see the truth of creation. We applaud the truth of life itself. The sun has risen, illuminating, and we all receive the truth of our oneness. And we embrace the child of love, the one that dwells within, waiting for the Father to touch the heart, that it comes to life and remembers as the heart says yes. Amanheceu, resplandeceu, amanheceu um novo dia. Meu Pai é lá, ela que ela está, minha mãe está, é o seu altar. Amanheceu, iluminou, resplandeceu um novo dia. Minha mãe está lá, ela está lá abertos, e suas rosas, flores de cristal. Amanheceu o coração desaboroso, todo é seu amor. Minha mãe está lá sim, lá está meu Pai, em grande júbilo, resplandeceu, iluminou, nosso Mãe, o sol nasceu, no resplandor da divina luz, nosso Mãe nos traz, o menino Jesus, o sol nasceu, iluminou, vamos receber o Salvador. Ele é menino, ele é o amor que agora chega aos corações. There's a beautiful place in the devotion to love. It is a place within that can't stop singing. There's a place within that the love that is being remembered becomes stronger and stronger. And the love that you feel, you have to feel your own devotion, because your devotion is for you. The devotion is to God, to the truth, to the light, to the love. But it's a devotion that's for you, because as you open to the devotion, you discover your true self, because that devotion is part of the truth of you. Devotion is so exquisite, and there's no comparison within the world at all. Not that there could be. It's touching into that newly discovered place that recognizes, this is what I have journeyed for. This is what my life's journey, all these lifetimes, this is what it's about. This is all the purpose of incarnation. And in that awakening to that awareness, devotion begins to get stronger and stronger. There's a blessing in being able to sing, but it's not limited to singing. It's not limited to expression just through the voice. It's way deeper than that. It's your heart's devotion that sometimes comes out in song, but it's more of a bright light that is within you, that is shining and glowing in your newly discovering love. As you discover love, you discover also what it's not. It's not what the world has made and used of the word love. The true love is without limitation and without exceptions and without differences, easily offered, without conditions. And every time that you have this devotion and you feel this devotion, the strength within you gets stronger. Your devotion also gets stronger, but the strength actually increases within you. And there is no substitute for that strength. There's nothing you can muster within the world system to find that strength. The strength comes from your heart of wanting to return home, wanting and so happy that there is a return home. And the strength gets stronger. So, a white gull heading east. A sailor lost for days at sea in a boat all alone spots a white gull heading east at dawn. And for a moment, her sight becomes his. Things can happen like that. Your soul can enter another that fully. Land, land, he cried within, and then even tasted the earth in a way. And so felt saved, as one might if one's mouth touched God and all your hungers disappeared. For a blessed second, which can also occur while reading a half-decent poem. So I hope you find one somewhere. Don't give up if this falls short. Lost for days at sea and spots a white gull. Now the atheist would say, I'm lost at sea and there's just a lousy white bird that keeps hanging around. But the one whose heart has been stirred in the awareness that God lives within can, for a moment, have that sight become his, can see through the eyes of this companion that has come to communicate with him. Because once you embrace the devotion to God, once you embrace that there is another purpose to your life than the one you thought before, once you have that, you're no longer limited to the world as you think you know it. The mysteries of love, the mysteries that are part of the God universe, become more and more familiar to you because you are available. It helps when beloveds like Hafiz write about miracles and the lack of limitation between beings, so that the white gull's sight becomes his own. And he cries and even tastes the earth that's getting close. Well, you can't taste the earth, but you can taste the earth when you open to the mysteries of love, of God. Maybe not exactly like that, but you lose the limitation of form that the ego has placed on the world. And you start to enter into the mysteries of love's unconditional weaving. Land, land, he cried, and so felt saved, as one might if one's mouth touched God and all your hungers disappeared. That's the devotion. The devotion is where you can touch God and all your hungers will disappear. Because all the hungers that are made in this world are based on the belief that you are not loved. They are based on the belief that you are without, that you are alone, that you walk alone, that you are alone, and that your thoughts are yours alone, and that you are really separate. None of that is true. And that is where the healing truly is in the acceptance of the mysteries of the universe that are yours. They're yours. They're not being kept from you. They're not being doled out so that you only have little bits and little pieces. The Holy Spirit opens the doors to exactly what is most helpful for you. You can't compare it to anybody else because it's not comparable. The truth is that the Holy Spirit has your complete journey held in its sight. And the most amazing, mysterious element is that the Holy Spirit is with every beloved, and completely there. Not running back and forth going, oh, I'll be back in a minute, and running off to someone else. No, completely there with you, giving you 100% of every moment. That is not a difficulty in the mysteries of love. In the mysteries of love, the truth of love can split itself into millions of elements and not lose one bit of strength or truth. How is that possible when in this world everything is focus on the one thing and do this one thing? In the laws of love, there are no limitations like that. And there are no limitations in what can be healed. And it's that is the most essential element. There is nothing in this world that cannot be healed. Absolutely nothing. It doesn't matter how many lifetimes you've walked in pain and suffering. It doesn't matter what the past looked like. It doesn't matter what you consider to be your strong suits, your weaknesses, your talents, or your non-talents. None of it matters at all. Because the truth of love has no limitation at all and can heal absolutely everything that is offered. Now, what happens is that in the world of remembering, the mind is doing all kinds of funny things, which it does all the time. And one of them is, I will select, this is the mind of the ego speaking, I will select what I want to have healed. And then can keep what I don't want to have healed so that I can control what I'm holding on to. But that game doesn't work, because every beloved that is playing that game is cheating themselves into thinking that they can do the dance of compromise and bargaining. Eventually, the divine whispers to you, I'm going to take it all. I'm going to take it all, and you're going to be so happy that I took it all. But I can't take it all until you surrender it. I can't force you. I can't change your mind, because you have choice. You've always had free will, but now it's a clear choosing. When you hear that voice, I'm going to take it all, don't be afraid of it. It isn't meant to be fearful, and it isn't fearful. It's the beautiful voice that you've been waiting for every lifetime to hear. It's every voice that you've ever fantasized about. It's every situation that you've ever wanted to prove that you had worth. It's every moment in your life when you saw yourself as alone or without. I'm going to take it all, because that's what God takes. God takes all the the pain, all of the longing, all of the belief that the past was true, it all disappears. And the past that you thought was true, you can't even remember. You can't remember it because it never existed. It is not something that you surrender with regret. It's letting the past completely disappear. The most amazing thing is when the past disappears, the love remains, truly remains. And though you can't remember, thank God, the details of situations so that your mind isn't spinning all the time with this information that means nothing, instead of feeling the love. And that's what's left, is all the love. The burden of the identity is so held with so much familiarity that you can't imagine who you would be without that identity. And it's a contemplation that is, you can't go there. You can try to contemplate, but you have no reference point. But the unburdened truth is that you will see everyone that you have ever known, but you will see them for the first time. You will see them for the first time as the light that they are. You may not even be able to stand being in the same room with them because the love is so strong, because you see and you feel and you light in the connection. There are no more roles. There are no more past stories of this happened or that happened, other than the only purpose of the story is to serve in learning. And that is all. But every beloved that you allow to be brought to the light, to see the Christ energy, every single beloved will not be anymore who you thought they were. You will have no more commentary about them. You will not have anything to hang on to except to be of service, of love to them. And your heart will be so light, so unburdened. And you won't actually be able to discern separation. It's all just love. There's nothing that you have to do at all to remember except the willingness to do so and the surrender. And whether anyone else is aware that you no longer see them as limited, their hearts will feel it. Imagine that with each beloved, all that you're bringing is peace. All that you're bringing is harmony. An open heart that has no agenda. And that you are so filled with love that you are happiest in the words that you can offer that speak to the beauty and the perfection of each beloved. That there is nothing in you left that has anything but kindness to offer. That there is nothing, and everybody is aware of that energy within. The energy that says, I'm afraid of not having enough. I'm afraid of not being revered. I want worth. Everybody's familiar with those feelings, that state of being. And yet love is calling and saying, there's nothing. You're just going to be so busy pouring love that you won't at all remember anything else, because there won't be anything else. Nothing else. In the truth of relationships, there's a beautiful teaching that I wanted to share. As you see yourself more and more as that light of love, you don't compromise anymore. And yet, nobody is aware that you're not compromising anymore. You're either going with the flow or being quiet, but you're not compromising anymore. You're not compromising because there's nothing that you need in order to compromise. So everything becomes just an easy flow. The question that is essential within the relationships of the misunderstanding of love within the world is to ask yourself, if you believe that you are a failure for not having certain types of relationships or friends that have certain roles that you have believed in the past were necessary. These are all questions that help open the heart to realize that you have everything. You are everything, and that there's nothing missing. And that every relationship that has ever been will be, but it will be only love. And you will only be able to bring love because it's all that you know. The beginning of this journey is to not to be afraid to look within. Everything that you see within is essential to see, because the Holy Spirit, if you're seeing it, the Holy Spirit is showing it to you. And in that exposure, you hold the hand of forgiveness. You hold the hand of truth that affirms to you that when you are looking at what you made up that's been running and you surrender it, that you don't have to apologize. You are forgiving yourself for the mistaken identity of the past. But you really have done nothing. but it must be brought to the light. Whatever's been made in the name of separation. The willingness to bring the separation to an end because it has no reality. The fear to look within is where it always begins. I was looking at the fear to look within and what it is that we do so well in that fear to look within. And it's every time that fear comes up to look within, the ego automatically goes out into form for distraction, just so afraid of the identity. And if everyone would just declare, I have been upside down and inside out. My thoughts have been insane. Don't mind my thoughts, they're just insane. Don't listen to anything I say, they're just insane. That ability to proclaim that is just saying, I'm not hooked anymore in having to protect a personality, to protect a persona, because there's nothing to protect. I used to use the term a lot to be a fool for love, because I could feel always that Jesus was a fool for love. And as a fool for love, he exposed all of the ridiculousness of the ego's pretense. That's one of the reasons why the disciples were so afraid of him. They weren't afraid of him because he was mean. They were afraid because he could see through them and see their games that they played. And he would bring that to the light, and they would get scared that they wouldn't have their old protections. But what they discovered after he passed and when he resurrected was that they could not try to hide what they wanted to keep from him, because he could see it all. And they became much more surrendered. If you saw your teacher resurrect, it would help you to trust much more deeply. Your teacher did resurrect. And not seeing it doesn't mean that it wasn't a resurrection. Your teacher is Jesus. Your teacher is every master that has taken that leap. And put your faith in that resurrection, to put your faith in wanting your teacher to see through you. It's one of the reasons why teachers are feared, because they can see through. I was terrified of Jose until I wasn't, but I was terrified because I could see that he could see all of my upside downness. What I didn't realize was that he didn't care, that he didn't judge my upside downness like I judged my upside downness, or that I judged the upside downness of others. He had no capacity for judging. And it's essential to lose the capacity for judgment, that it has no purpose other than the belief that you are self-protecting in judgment, when in truth, there's nothing to self-protect. Nothing at all. Only love. If you're praying and you're asking that every voice be still except God's within you, if you have that prayer, pretty soon you're going to hear the voice of God, because you will be attracted to the stillness eventually. Let every voice be still but God's. And you will have no idea where that voice will come from. If you're asking and you're praying for every voice to be still but God's, you think that God's voice is going to like whisper in your ear. But that voice could come through your neighbor. That voice could come through your dog. The voice could come through a plant. You don't know where the voice will come from, because God's voice is everywhere. Let every voice be still but God's, and you will hear the voice of God come from all different places. The voice of God is coming through every single teaching. All you have to do is read one sentence of a sacred teaching, and God is speaking to you. If you don't believe me, try picturing that in your mind happening to you, where you're listening to God speak through the white gull that is flying, or the bird that's in the backyard that you thought was a particular species, and then all that has to go, because God is there. You could spend your whole day listening to God's voice, and eventually you will, because the voice of God will become clearer and clearer, and the other voices will diminish, diminish, diminish. As you let go of what you know and open to just listening. Patience is the key to the listening. Trusting that God is not going to leave you without. It's not possible. But only your faith can hold you there. Only your faith holds you in the strength that is truly being called to be brought into manifestation. The strength of God. The strength of God that says, who would mess with me now? A magnificent force I have become, having aligned myself with truth. Who would mess with me now? Only a lucky idiot. So go ahead, egg my house, steal some fruit from that pear tree in my backyard. That would be a good idea, to imbibe something I have tended, like those playful words. A magnificent force I have become. And as you open to the truth of love, a magnificent force you become that is not afraid anymore. So go ahead, egg my house, or steal my fruit. It's realizing that there is no enemy. There is no other. And the strength that you become serves everyone in every moment. And it is the strength of gentleness. It is the strength of peace. It's who you are. It's what you are. And even though Hafiz asks, who would mess with you now? As a joke, because you won't care anymore. You're just there to offer love. Only love.